Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Adventure School. Today we're going to be talking to Angie. Her tag is at the Flexitarian Travels, and she is a DIY travel mentor and a solo travel enthusiast. And basically her mission is, I just want to make sure I get this right, to empower and equip you to make bucket list travel a reality with ease and flow. So we are going to talk to her today about planning your own travels, DIYing your budget and your itinerary, her experience solo traveling and some tips for that, and also she's got a big trip plan, so she's going to tell us a little bit more about how she's packing for long-term travel. That's something that I know a bit about because I did it, and that's what inspired me to start this brand, because it was kind of a mess and a disaster and it made things a little harder, but I've learned from that experience, and hopefully going into her big trip, Angie knows exactly what she's doing to make her adventure a little easier. So let me see if I can get her on and we will start. Hey Catherine, thanks for joining. Okay. Invited her. Oh, hello.
Hey.
How are you?
Good. How are you? Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
It's a little bit fuzzy. Yeah, it's almost like you're in space. It's like, wait, what's going on?
Hopefully it clears up a little bit as you get closer to home. So Angie's like driving it right now, but I think she's gonna be home in a minute, so maybe it'll get a little better.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wanted to get on here live and talk about. I know you're a DIY travel mentor. I think that could help a lot of people who are watching this kind of DIY travel, and also maybe inspire them with some of your travel, and also kind of tease the fact that you're going on like a trip that's kind of going to be a longer one, and you're gonna have kind of be strategic with what you're doing for a long-term trip and what you're going to do for that. So to get started, maybe just tell a little bit about yourself and about Flexitarian Travels, and anything you want to add at the beginning.
Yeah. So, hey guys, it's Angie. I'm just coming from Starbucks. I'm currently in South Florida, and everyone seems to be crazy about Starbucks today. So I'm just getting back, but it is the case. Yes, I am a DIY travel mentor, and I actually started from my own travel experience, just not knowing how to travel plan on my own, but I really wanted to go out and travel, both domestically and internationally. So I went ahead, I did all the necessary research to start doing my early trips, and now it's the case that I really want to give other people that opportunity as well, because I just feel like the transformative nature of travel is just enormous, and I think everyone should be able to take part in it if they want to. So I want to be that bridge of access for people.
That's awesome. I love it. And I love also that on your website that you mentioned, like, it's for bougie or budget, like no matter what kind of trip you're planning to go on, because I know everyone has a different definition or even like a threshold of what they are going to take or what they think they could take. And so I think it's great to know that you really can go either way and still plan it yourself and have like an amazing time. So
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you, what is a flexitarian, or what does that mean? Like, what does it mean to you?
Yeah, so really the definition of a flexitarian is someone who mostly is vegetarian, but flexes a little bit with the kind of like food choices that they have. And I wanted to apply that to travel too. One, because it just sounds very interesting, but then also I think it's just the case that for any kind of travel that you want to do, as you referenced, bougie or budget, whatever you want to do, I think it should just be something that's customizable. And it's not the case that you should just be like, okay, like this person had this experience, so that's all that travel is. Travel is really what you make it, and it's just really about getting yourself out there and really experiencing what the world has to offer.
That's awesome. I also think I just like the word flex being in there, because I think it means, I mean, when I read it, I didn't know that it had any meaning with vegetarianism, but that's really interesting. But to me, I was like, oh, it must be about like being flexible, because I think with travel, one of the biggest things in order to really enjoy any trip is that you have to kind of have a little bit of flexibility flexibility, and whether it be during the planning process or while you're actually on the trip. So, but I really like your wrap up of the whole definition. So that's cool. And then, so I kind of wanted to ask, since you did this from your experience, and obviously maybe you started out not being so pro at planning and everything, like from your experience, what is like the ideal process to kind of start planning a trip? Like, what does the start and finish look like?
Yeah, so how I go about it, I actually just plan my hotels first, because if you're thinking of your general itinerary and you're trying to maybe cancel something, especially in the wake of COVID, like anything can happen at any time with all the travel restrictions. I think hotels are the easiest thing to cancel, especially if you use something like, because I use booking.com for most of my reservations. So a lot of them, they have like little policies where you can do like free cancellation and no prepayment. So you don't put any money down, but you secure a place. And like, let's say you secure the reservation for 3 months in advance and something happens in that time. It's not the case that you'd have to like go to like a certain person, or you'd have to call someone. No, you would just go on booking.com and then you could just cancel that reservation, and you didn't put any money down. So it safeguards you in a way and just gives you peace of mind. Like, okay, like, yes, I really want to go on this vacation, but I'm also being mindful of the climate that's around. So I always do hotels first, and then flights and activities, I always leave those a little bit more flexible. So I usually put a flight tracker on to see like how the prices are going to fluctuate. And it's really nice if you use something like Google Flights, because you can actually just set the flight tracker on, and then they'll send you the emails of like if the price goes up, if it goes down, if it stays about the same, then you can gauge if you want to buy the tickets from there. And then for activities, I like to do like a 50-50 approach. So I maybe like to plan a couple activities before I go on a trip, and then I just leave the other activities for when I'm on ground, because it's just the case, especially if you've never been somewhere before, there's so many things that you can explore on ground, and it almost takes the fun out of it if you plan everything in advance. So you really want to try to do like maybe a few things pre-planned, and then just see like what your eyes see actually on ground.
Yeah, that's super smart. And I never thought about the booking a hotel thing first. Like, it makes so much sense, especially because I use booking.com a lot too. And for anyone out there who's not using booking.com, like, definitely go check it out, because like you said, it's really the easiest one when you can just cancel. There's usually a cancel right up until like the day before policy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes sense to kind of secure that, especially with like kind of the craziness that's still going on, and then get your flight. Because I'm usually the one that gets my flight first, but if you can cancel something, you might as well get that first, because you never know if maybe you get a flight someplace and then you're stuck. There's no good places to stay, or they're all out of your budget, or they're all in weird areas or something. So that's really smart. And yeah, I totally agree with the boots on the ground, because also it's nice to kind of maybe go to like local tour operators, and there's no way for you to know like all the options before you get there. You don't want to do too much research. You also want to be kind of surprised when you
right.
Totally agree. So you told us about booking.com and about Google Flights. Is there any other like travel planning hacks or budget itinerary hacks that you have?
Yeah, so I can talk about like a couple of other like flight trackers. So if you want to pay a little bit, one flight tracker I really love is Dollar Flight Club. Their premium membership, I believe it's like $59 or $69, and they send you multiple emails a day. So like, let's say you want to go, I don't know, to Tokyo or something, and from your airport, if you look on Google Flights, it's kind of expensive. If you put in your home airports in Dollar Flight Club Premium, then they'll send you all the deals for, you know, your home airport. So you could probably snag a round trip deal to Tokyo for $300-400 instead of $1,000. And it's really the case that you didn't have to do any extra work. All you did was just sign up for the membership, and that price is for a whole year. So you basically just get multiple emails a day about like all these different kind of deals that you can get. So that'd be it for flight trackers. And then for activities, I really like using Get Your Guide and Airbnb Experiences, because it gives you more of like a local flavor, like you're referencing the tour operators and stuff. Especially for Airbnb Experiences, you actually get to be with the locals, because it's the case when you're using like regular Airbnb, like you're able to stay with locals. So then locals, again, go on Airbnb experiences, be like, hey, like, you know, I know this area really well. Maybe I can take you like out into nature somewhere, or maybe you can come to my house and we can have a cooking class or something like that. So it just really connects you a lot better with the local community instead of like kind of going to like these other type areas.
Yeah, kind of like the big operators who, have everything pre-planned before you get there.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. And what, as a DIY travel mentor, like what are some of the things you do to like help people kind of learn how to DIY their own travels?
Yeah, so I pretty much just teach people like the general process, like how I do the booking of hotels, like, you know, especially like doing like free cancellation or no prepayment, then just going through like the basics of like how to work all the different aspects of Google Flights and just flight trackers in general, because it's really the case. A lot of people think like, oh yeah, like the systems are out to get me, like all these prices are fluctuating, but it is actually the case that you can work in conjunction with the systems and really have them work in your favor, basically like an automation. You just have to know kind of like those basic steps of how to really work it in that way. And then just also too for budgeting, I think that's a huge thing, because a lot of people think like, okay, like I can buy like all these different kind of things and I have these aspirations, but then you have to think like, well, you want to be able to enjoy your vacation too. So besides like all like the big logistics, like your hotel and your airfare and everything, what about ground transportation? What about food? What if you want to do other things as well? So just setting yourself up with a solid budget, and also just thinking of something like if you're going to a country and the dollar isn't that favorable, like what are you doing about currency exchange and all those different kind of things. So basically it's almost like your toolbox, and being able to know all the different kind of tools so you can be equipped to basically use it as a rinse and repeat process for any trip that you want to go on.
That's great. I mean, it sounds kind of weird, but like travel really is kind of a learned skill. Like you could just go someplace, but to get really good at something and feel really comfortable with it, you really have to know some of the tips and tricks. Because you can go into some like go to a place kind of blind and not think of all these things that you didn't realize were going to matter beforehand, like converting currency and things like that. And there really are a lot of things that you can learn. I really recommend everybody go check out Angie's website after this. If you have any questions, I'm sure he can totally help you.
Yeah.
Ask about solo travel. It's something that I haven't really dabbled into a bunch. I've done a few flights myself, whatever, but I don't really explore flights myself. So kind of tell us, like, what are some tips and some challenges that come along with being a solo traveler, since you're a solo traveler?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that comes with solo traveling is just really being cognizant and aware of your surroundings, because it's one thing if you're with, let's say, your significant other or a group of people, at least you have extra eyes around you. But when you're a solo traveler, it's only your own eyes. So kind of like the basic things like, okay, if you're in an area and you know it could be like a little sketchy or so, like you maybe don't want to be out at 11 o'clock at night on your own, or something as simple as the shoes that you're wearing. If you're going to be walking around a lot, like you're not going to be wearing like 3-inch wedge sandals. You're going to be a little bit more practical and like maybe wear like a comfortable flat or like a nice comfortable sneaker, so you're not dying at the end of your day of exploring around. So I think like things like that. And then just really to get into solo travel, I think it's just kind of like a baby step thing. I think that's the best approach. So doing things like maybe going to a cafe on your own, going to the movie theater, kind of like exploring your own area by yourself, because that establishes just like, okay, you know, you're going out by yourself and you actually enjoy your own company. So it's a little bit of a safe zone, if you want to say. And then maybe you can go like to another county or like out of your state, and then you know, start going on like more international trips, but just like make it incremental. It's not the case that you have to go from, okay, like point A to point F. It's not that kind of thing.
By little, like make sure that you're comfortable doing it close to home first, and then as you get better and better, you know that you can handle being alone without anybody around you, being thousands of miles from home. So that's exactly. Really. Are there any? What would you say are the advantages of solo travel? What do you like about it? Or what are the benefits?
Yeah, I think for me, it would be the case. Like, one, you just get to really, like, on the whole, you customize travel, but I think with solo travel, you really just get to get in tune with like what your interests are like and just things that you really enjoy doing. Because sometimes it's the case that maybe you want to try that new restaurant, or maybe you want to do that like crazy bungee jump or something, but everyone's like, no, 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 I don't really want to do it. So I feel like when you're solo traveling, you can almost like give yourself that permission to really like take in and experience things without feeling like you're being held back by people. And then I think just by extension too, maybe while you're solo traveling, you find out things about yourself that you probably wouldn't have found out otherwise. Like, oh my God, like, I actually am like really talkative, or oh my God, like I actually am more adventurous and,
Yeah.
more curious than I thought I was. If I wouldn't have traveled, I probably wouldn't have found this out. So I think it's just really amazing. Even if you do solo travel one time, I think it's just really transformative.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good point. And it's true, like when you do things alone, you don't have to make any compromises. So that's kind of why I don't really like traveling in big groups. I like traveling with my boyfriend because we always want to do most of the same things, or we know how to compromise with each other. But when it comes to like then you add like a third, fourth, fifth, sixth person, all of a sudden I'm like, well, now I don't get to do what I want to do all the time, and that when
Exactly.
I want to maximize my time. So that's a great point. Um, and then I don't know how much you want to share, but I know you have a big trip coming up. So I don't know if you want to share like locations or like what you're kind of doing to prepare. And I kind of wanted to ask you a little bit about your packing strategy, like knowing that you're going to be gone for a while. Like, what are you thinking ahead of time to get ready for that?
Yeah, so it's the case that tentatively I'm thinking about going to Valencia, Barcelona, Athens for a couple of months, and then London. So I'm just like, whoa, I didn't like think of this a few months ago. And then I was just like, you know what? Like I was already going to go to Europe for a few weeks. And then I just thought, I really love being in Europe. So why not make it a more extended trip? So basically it's the case, I just mapped out those areas, and then now it's the case, I went on booking.com and basically booked all the accommodations that I would need for the whole time that I'm in the various cities. So there's that. And then for my packing strategy, it's the case, usually I do pack very, very light. Like I just have my carry-on and then maybe a bag or so. But it is the case that this time I'm bringing my checked luggage
Ah,
strategically, strategically, because I was just thinking to myself, like, well, it could be the case that I could buy my things in Europe, but the euro things get really, really expensive when you're converting to American dollars. So I was thinking, like, yeah, I think it would just be better if I actually bought a lot of my stuff beforehand and then just brought it to me. And my strategy with that is like, okay, over time, I basically bought enough things for about 4 months. So then over time, it's going to be the case that's just going to dwindle, 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 dwindle. So then by the time I come back, my check luggage will pretty much be almost empty. Then I can just kind of throw some stuff in there. And then I still have like all my clothes basically in my carry on. So then if I want to bring back some souvenirs or something, then I just have the extra space to be able to bring those souvenirs back. And then it won't be so bad.
yeah, yeah, that makes it. Is it going to be cold when you go? Is that
Yeah. So, mhm.
so? Some definitely packing when it's cold is a little harder. So just make sure you pack like the most important stuff in your carry on just in case anything happens with your luggage. Um, so yeah. Lastly, I just want to ask: is there any like fate? Like, where's your most favorite place you've ever been? Like, the best trip ever so far?
Oh my God, that's so hard. That's really hard.
It's the hardest
I
question.
think I think I would have to say Mexico City for sure, and Vancouver, Canada, probably my
Oh,
top two.
I like it. Keeping with North America.
Yeah, because I mean, it was just so hard, and like Switzerland is beautiful too, but I don't know. I think just kind of like the vibrancy and the European vibes of Mexico City, and then just the really lax and just like almost super breath of fresh air feel in Vancouver. Like those always stick to me the most. And then Geneva, that's where I went in Switzerland, absolutely breathtaking. So beautiful.
I have to go. I haven't been in Mexico City, but I've always heard good things about there, so I definitely want to check that out too. And it's so close, especially where I live.
And the food, prime.
And I want to add to that, Angie just, since she's about to start packing for her trip that she's going on, she got the Sedona two-way tee so that she can wear that. And she also got the tube travel pillow, which I think is one of those like underestimated things where I don't know if we lost her, but the tube travel pillow, it's the only travel pillow that you can stuff with clothes. So a few extra things, or if she wants to travel with a jacket or a plane, she can just stuff it in the tube, and it's also like it doubles as a travel pillow. So I think that's going to be really great for her upcoming trip. And I don't know if we're losing her because I just see this little loading symbol thing. But anyway, hopefully you're still there, Angie. I just wanted to say thank you for joining us at Adventure School. I think you shared some awesome pointers. And like I said before, her website is the Flexitarian Digest.xyz. So she has a lot of free and paid courses and resources and things that she uses to DIY her own travels and that she helps other people. And you can find her on Instagram at the Flexitarian Travels so that she can answer any of your questions. Go give her a follow. Okay, you're back. So I don't know if we lost you for a second. So anyway, go give her a follow. And if you have any questions or if you want to check out her website, definitely do that. Is there anything else you want to add, Angie, before we get off live? Oh, hello? Hello? I don't know if she's there. Oh, I just love Instagram Live. Thank you, Catherine. So good listening. Thanks, guys. Thank you. I don't know if she's there or something happened all of a sudden with the Wi-Fi. We're probably gonna get going in about 20 minutes now. So thank you, Angie. Sorry that we lost you towards the end. Thank you to everyone who tuned in, and we'll see you for next week's episode of Adventure School. Bye.